Bex, I'm on the market for a really good single player game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and I have a feeling you've got a back pocket full of suggestions.
Yeah.
So do you want to walk me through some of your favourites? I'll share some of mine, and I would love chat to get involved. Pop a couple comments and let me know what they think are the best games too. So
Yes.
buckle up. Where are we going first?
Let's go. Let's talk about one of my favourite game studios, Rockstar Games. Great Western, Red Dead Redemption 2. This was actually my first introduction to you, Charleyy.
Really?
On social media, yeah. Was your Red Dead Redemption 2
the video. Yeah, so actually I'm really glad you mentioned Red Dead 2 because I played the first one so much. It's one of my favorite eras in like the Wild West and journeying across America. Like I love the way Rockstar tell this story. The first one is like one of the first video games that ever made me cry. And the second one I got about halfway through and the stars are aligning and everyone's telling me to play this at the moment. So I think you've probably already solved the brief already, let's say. But yeah, that clip, it was like my first interaction with a horse and I hadn't clearly learned the button for punch yet. Punch my horse and well, I'm certain we can find the clip and show you what happens next because it was really fun. Why do you recommend it, Bex? Why is it so solid for you?
I recommend it because I think it is truly defining of what a good story can be told through video games. It takes all of the elements that make up a really enjoyable experience. We've got beautiful visuals. I mean, one of the best soundscapes in gaming as well. In all those really quiet moments when you're out at night and you can just hear
Having a little bath and a little shave.
Yeah.
Those little quiet moments.
Arthur.
Yeah, I felt like I was just looking after Arthur the whole time. And then something would happen and there'd be a robbery that would be going on next to me and I can choose whether I wanted to get involved or whether I wanted to get back to my quest of feeding the folks back home and probably having another bath.
That's it as well. I think there's so many tales to be told through it and it is such an engaging story. You do really care for the characters, like you just mentioned. That's probably the best way to put it. You become Arthur, Morgan, and you know, you live out these people's lives as well.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons, you know, I've seen on TikTok and social media a lot recently. The thing that's beautiful about Red Dead is so many people going back to it and playing it at their own pace. And I feel like recently there's just been an influx of people getting to the ending. Now, I don't know what the ending is yet. All I know is the journey along the way is absolutely fantastic. So I'm actually really glad we've started with this one and I'm immediately going to go download it. So thank you, Bex.
Okay, one light so far.
Yeah, one down, next one. Here we go. I'm going to recommend this one. Okay, so I'm gonna Uno reverse you, Bex, and I'm gonna give you Immortality, which, if you remember, we streamed this together a little while back.
Yes.
We did the first few hours. For those who haven't played it, it's like an interactive thriller where you have to solve the case of an actress who's mysteriously disappeared, but you solve the crime by looking at like previous clips from a movie that she's been in, from clues and different like behind the scenes footage. But like, I want to say gimmick because I think that comes with like a negative connotation, but like one of the genuinely most amazing things about this game is that it's all real footage. It's actual captured footage from a real life actress called Manon Gage. And you know, we play a lot of games on Twitch, but when we walked away from that stream, it really stuck with me that we'd played something different. I don't know if you had the same takeaways, but I just thought it was fantastic.
I loved it as well. Went through a big like FMV phase. Like a similar game, Telling Lies, is really good and playable on Xbox as well. But Immortality was so up my street, Charleyy, when we played it. Like you say, the performances from Manon Gage and the other actors as well were fantastic. I believe she actually received a BAFTA nomination for...
Yeah, I think you're right there, actually. She definitely got some sort of accolade, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was all fantastic. And because it's based around film as well, I loved that crossover between... I'm a big movie fan as well. I love, you know, watching them. So...
I love watching them.
I love watching them. So why would I not
Bex,
playing them?
I love watching them.
I love movies. Great, thanks. Good input, Bex. No, but of course I would love playing it as well. And I'm also a massive true crime fan, Charleyy. I love listening to, you know, podcasts about solved or unsolved cases. Love it. Recently as well, there's been quite an influx of games that you need to get your detective hat on a little bit for.
Yeah,
it, so.
we love a mystery, and the mystery that unravels Immortality. You know, it's you know, I don't want to say too much for people who haven't played it, but it's very much one of those games that you start playing it thinking it's one thing, and not too long later you realize it's something else completely different. And there's a little bit of, well, it's a mystery, right? So it's a little bit spooky in places.
100%.
Yeah.
Every new layer presents something new, like pass the parcel sort of vibe.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, Bex.
The pass the parcel of games, Immortality.
It's just a new genre called Pass the Parcel.
Yeah.
Wonderful, love it, excellent. I think I'm going to give you another game next though, because this was one of my favorites, and I think everyone's favorites as well.
Yes.
Okay, I'm coming with the entire world most likely behind me with a million BAFTAs and Game Awards, but I don't think you could talk about single player games in the year of our Lord 2024 without mentioning Baldur's Gate 3. It's, for those who don't know, again, RPG, storytelling, tabletop gaming, Dungeons & Dragons, all that good stuff you love, but somehow the mad lads at Larian just did it like tenfold. It's the amount of depth that this game offers and the amount of choice that's there. And it's not just like choose A or B and then it will give you an outcome that's a little bit of A or a little bit of B. Like, you know, we streamed it when it came out. Me and Henry played a lot of it. Anyone who's watching this will know the ridiculous adventures of our characters. And it's honestly astounding, some of the choices that you do or don't make, and then you can just see 20 hours later the impact of that is still going ahead.
Yeah.
I won't go into too much details for those who haven't played it yet, but you ask anyone who's played Baldur's Gate 3 what they did at the Goblin Camp, and I will guarantee every single person had a different encounter.
Yeah.
And if that isn't Dungeons & Dragons, an open world RPG, I don't know what is. It's absolutely phenomenal.
I think just jumping off of that as well, you mentioned, obviously this is Baldur's Gate. It is entirely based around D&D. That is the D&D universe. Dungeons & Dragons, which, you know, normally or in real life, a lot of the time that involves like a big party or like friends. And while you can play Baldur's Gate 3 cooperatively with a friend, it doesn't, you know, rely on that because you have your own party with the incredible characters within the game. So as a single player experience, it can just form, like you say, so many unique stories to you as well, which is fantastic.
I've seen people do like numerous playthroughs as well, as they want to play, you know, their own characters that they make. They want to roll the characters that Larian made for them all, try, you know, full-on attack modes, full-on romance modes, and just see. And, you know, people have got hundreds and hundreds of hours in these games and are still finding new content along the way. And I want to shout out at this point that one of the streams that we did when it came out on Xbox last year is I had a chance to interview Adam Smith, who's the writing director, and he had some of the most fantastic stories to tell us of all the sort of tales that he's woven amongst the game. One of them being about cheese. Can you remember we did a TikTok about the cheese story as well?
I remember the cheese wheel story,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I'm going to make you go watch the TikTok. But there is a story with cheese and Baldur's Gate 3 that I think genuinely exemplifies what they were up to when they were making this game.
Yeah, do you know what? Again, I just want to give the whole Larian team a shout out. You've already said it, but I mean, you don't win that many awards. Game awards. I mean, I was lucky enough to meet some of the team at the BAFTA. So meeting Sven was incredible. You could tell as well that he just has such a passion for his entire team as well. It's not just about
you see
him
all of them go up
director.
on the stage every time when they accept awards. It's
Literally.
such a team passion energy. It's brilliant.
And I think that shines through in a lot of the performances as well. Like meeting Samantha Barrett, who plays Charleyy, she was so just incredible and so much fun to chat to. And you can't talk about Baldur's Gate without talking about the cultural impact of Astarion on the entirety of the world. Yes. I know people who don't play video games and know about Astarion. I guess to wrap up my petition to call Baldur's Gate 3 one of the greatest, if not the best, single player games of all time. Wow. Is there's like over 17,000 endings and outcomes. It's unbelievable. And on this point, I really want to ask the folks watching at home to tell us about some of the craziest storylines you've had in Baldur's Gate 3. Please put them in the comments. I'm going to be going along and reacting and you know, maybe disagreeing with some of your choices along the way, maybe agreeing with them. Who knows? But I'm keen to see what everyone else's involvement is, because there's every chance we're going to get 17,000 comments that are all telling completely different stories. And you can't say that for a lot of games out there in the world, can you? What a special title this is. Tell us your tales. Oh, Henry's got a suggestion for us.
Alan!
Okay, I think he means Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, to unpack that further, that guttural scream, he's saying Alan Wake 2, which I really closely followed with Baldur's Gate 3, actually. These were the two games that everyone was saying last year that if you had a console and you wanted to play one of the best stories ever committed to video games, it was one of these two. And Alan Wake certainly swept this office for people who were absolutely obsessed with it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fair to point out all of Remedy's back catalogue are fantastic single player games to play through. Quantum Break, Control, Alan Wake 1 obviously, and then the long awaited sequel that released last year, like you say, Charley, and it is fantastic.
Absolutely. It's so, again, to catch those folks up who are maybe looking for a little bit of flavor text of what this is, if you've been under a rock since last year. It's a story of a haunted horror writer who's become trapped in a dark place known as, wait for it, Bex, the Dark Place.
How do they come up with these
I
things?
tell you what, geniuses over there. They're trying to get to the bottom of why this has happened, the freakiness, the monster related things that keep happening, because it's annoying when you're trying to write a book and there are just monsters jumping out of everywhere. But the way that the realities of the Dark Place mixed with what the FBI agent Saga Anderson is trying to solve is so cool. And there is this like moment in the middle with this like dance performance that I just feel is like iconic in itself. It's beyond the title of Alan Wake 2, and it's probably, for a lot of people who haven't played the game, they might know about that more so.
Jumping off of what you just said, I think what's so fun is that Alan Wake 2 and these previous Remedy titles, they again weave different media or mediums, to create a video game, which is so fantastic as well. Kind of like Immortality, we've got some like live action sequences within Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, see Sam Lake up in there.
We've got Sammy. We've got just a mix of universes and storylines, and everything is connected in some way, and you feel like you're almost
going to do a Madam Web bit then, weren't you?
No?
All the webs are connected.
All the webs are connected.
I saw the look in your eye.
I was doing a Charley Day moment instead.
Carol! Charley Day loves Alan Wake 2, so that's why you should play it.
Legally, we don't know if that's true.
No. Now, I don't get to sit down and play a lot of really big games often, but there was one game I knew I had to get my hands on, and I'm so glad I finally got around to doing it, and that was Cyberpunk 2077. It's really nice seeing so many people return or revisit or start Cyberpunk at the moment. It seems to be going through this huge moment of success. Again, it just won a BAFTA as well, I think, for like ongoing game.
Best evolving game.
Yes, that's the evolving game. Thank you. And it's superb, and I'm so glad I started playing it when I did. There are very few games that I could list off the top of my head in which the first 10-15 minutes I was all in. I was locked in. The universe, the dystopia, everything is very me, what I'm into anyway. Crime raging out of control, it's grubby, it's neon. It's great. It's gorgeous. I think the thing that's so cool about the story as well is, and it's tough not to go into too many details because pretty much straight from the off, you are in story mode. Like the twists and turns that V's story takes you on are some of the best I've experienced in all my time in video games. There's assassination attempts, corporate espionage, the ideas that Cyberpunk works with, the ideologies and what it unpacks and delivers to you. They go beyond the game and the aesthetics looking good. Like it goes really deep with it, and it's super impactful. I found myself genuinely like jaw dropped, game pause, trying to wrap my head around just what happened before I crack on with the next bit. And it's just one of those things. I just think everyone should have a go at it and see how they feel about it, see what they take away from it, especially when you can design and change V's entire build from the moment you start. Are you a net runner? Are you this? Are you that? I just want to know everyone's takeaway from it because it's such an important game.
Yeah.
And I mean, also it's got our man Keanu. I feel like it's a shame you have to mention Keanu every single time because I feel like the game is so phenomenal, not because he's in it, but thanks to him being in it. But my God, does he give the performance of a lifetime in that game.
Our lifestyle, that's fine.
Yeah.
A cyberpunk lifestyle. I think CD Projekt Red are so well known for their incredible world building, and I mean it's fair to address that. Unfortunately, Cyberpunk maybe started off quite rocky. I always really enjoyed it from the start, but mainly because I was able to overlook a lot of irks I might have had because of the engrossing story and the time I was having with that. I just wanted to immerse myself more in this world and find out more about the characters that I was meeting. And, you know, obviously that is your likes of Keanu, as well as recently the Phantom Liberty DLC with Idris Elba. Fantastic acting talent in the entire game as well. But yeah, it's a very well-connected city to real life as well. It really does feel, I mean, I mentioned it right at the start. It's such a good like escapism.
I felt like just going around on like my little motorbike, I was like grabbed by every side mission that I went past as well. I wanted to help people out. I wanted to get all the cyber psychos. It wasn't a case of just doing all of the, you know, more often than not, I like to do the main story first to unlock the world, clear the fog of war as it is, and then go up and, you know, sweep up and tidy up all the bits along the way. But I could not help but be like a little magpie or a raven, which I don't know, I'm not a bird person, but whichever one it is that like gets distracted by everything, that was me. And I also caused a lot of crashes on the motorbike because I did keep stopping and slamming into cars. So I was like, oh, what's that over there? Yeah. But my God, it's just gorgeous. And so I played it after they did the later updates. Yes. So what they added late last year. And the whole exoskeleton, I'm unsure if that's the word, apologies, system that they added where you put all the enhancements on is so, it's just cool. It's cool to look at. It's cool to edit and design how you want to do it. And I felt like I'd fully like RPG'd this character that was me, but in Night City. And oh my God, I just loved it. So good. I do need to start Phantom Liberty though. And that's I'm saying this live on a microphone to make sure I'm accountable. I will have finished Phantom Liberty by the end of this year. I promise you that.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Speaking about stories, we would be absolutely amiss not to mention some of the most acclaimed stories across video game history.
Where are you going with this?
Now, is a game, well, a couple that I haven't played. Too much. I've dabbled. I haven't finished them. I have played, however, Tell Me Why from the same developers.
Oh, okay. I see where this is going.
I think you might be a massive fan of the Life is Strange series.
Bex. So, you know, I mentioned right at the start of this, the first Red Dead made me cry. The only other video game that's ever made me cry is Life is Strange.
Wow.
All of them. Every single one of them at some point.
Tears.
Full on tears. Unfortunately, all of them were on camera as well, which is just devastating to my ego. But I think it's that question that all of us try to think about just in real life, which is what would happen if you were to turn back time, do a situation another way, and how would it play out? And in Life is Strange, this is all done from the perspective of an 18-year-old girl who can bend time. Again, something I really do think most of us, if you could have a superpower.
Literally.
That's up there, top 5 choice, right?
Oh, that is my only choice. I want to pause time for everyone else, apart from me. I used to dream about that for getting my homework in instead. I was like, can I just pause time?
There's probably better uses for homework productivity, but thank you for sharing.
I'll agree to disagree, it's fine.
Well, the way that they use it in Life is Strange, it involves, you just see so many different ways that other people live their lives in a small town and how the butterfly effect of what you do impacts them. I'm trying to be a boffin here and show off. I think it's a word that's called wanderlust or something like that, which is the idea that, you're walking down the street and everyone else around you aren't just NPCs, but all of them have left their house and are going somewhere, and the people on the bus going past you aren't just on the bus because it needs to fill the space. This isn't the Truman Show. Everyone has their own lives.
Yeah.
And I think Life is Strange has got a really, really good way of making you feel like every single person in that world has an important use for you and your story. But as well as it being a really interesting narrative mechanic, my God, do those games cover some very, very deep, very thoughtful subjects. It's not one I would recommend people go into lightly thinking it's just going to be like a kooky jape through time and it's going to be a little bit of this, there's a storm and a murder case. It gets serious pretty quickly, and I would say, hazard I guess to say one, the 3 moments in each of the titles that did make me cry were significant emotional storytelling pieces. There are some very troubling conversations that I had, but they're dealt with so wonderfully.
Yes.
You can't help but fall in love with the settings, the visuals, and all the characters. It's just stunning. And you know, if you want any more of these interactive stories, because I suppose that's what you would call Life is Strange, head to Game Pass, and you can also play like Firewatch and The Quarry, which I think both of us have streamed and played as well. There's a plethora of them out there. No, I recently learned actually you pronounce that plethora.
I would say, yeah,
I'd say plethora.
Okay.
Yeah, then I got
Sounds
told
like
off.
a dinosaur when you say it, but plethora drops or something. Anyway, but yeah, Tell Me Why is also on Game Pass as well, which
it is.
Again,
That made me cry and all, actually.
yeah.
Oh, I cried too much for a grown woman.
No, absolutely not.
No, you should.
Strike that from the record.
Right now.
Let's talk about another game.
I think we should moving swiftly onwards to our last title that we'd recommend.
Okay, so one more I'd like to chat about, Charleyy, that I think...
Take us home, Bex.
Take me home. Sorry. Is one that I think you should play. I know you haven't, so I'm going to recommend you do this from my own personal experience.
I'm making diligent notes.
That is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Jedi
Double
Survivor.
whammy. Okay, how come?
I don't know how much of a fan you are of the Star Wars series.
I mean, I've seen them all,
Yes.
but I think I sit in that camp of people who grew up with Star Wars was always like the sci-fi thing to watch.
Sure.
And so I watched it, but I don't think I went too much deeper than that. And then the incredible world of Star Wars just started expanding.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I got a little bit lost on my way of what touch points to go in for. But I've seen like the main 9 or so movies that they came out with, and The Mandalorian. So yeah, how would you recommend these titles to someone who actually is maybe less involved with Star Wars than others? Take Henry, for example, who's absolutely obsessed with Star Wars. He's going to play it just because it says Star Wars on the box, right?
But I think that's where the Jedi Survivor games fall in so well to that category of it suits your hardcore Star Wars fans like our dearest Henry, and who even actually got Cal's lightsaber tattooed on him. He loved the game so much.
Love Henry.
It is a fantastic game to call out some interesting, time zones throughout the movies as well. Like you're kind of sitting in after the events of Order 66 after the third movie. So it's got so much deep connective tissue for Star Wars fans to enjoy and really soak in. And I actually went around for... It actually, I think, probably Jedi Fallen Order is the only game that I've done absolutely everything possible on it.
Wow, okay.
To go around and collect all of the little info points and all of your, collectibles, as well as 1000 Jedi. I did absolutely everything to it and enjoyed Cal as a character so well. And sorry, to your point as well, to your question, that this is all well and good for Star Wars fans. I don't need to tell you lot to play it, but for someone who is just looking for a single player game but interested in more of a sci-fi environment, then both of these games are fantastic.
It's adjacent to some of the greatest stories that have ever been told.
Yeah.
Right? It's just set in that universe.
Yes, and you don't need to require like intricate lore pieces or whatever. You can just enjoy that story separately to the universe. However, it's obviously, emphasized even more with that connective tissue. I love Cal. I think he's such a fantastic character. Not often, like I connect with quite a lot of video game characters, but yeah, him especially. Yeah, his journey, I just really related to him. He seems like just this character that you kind of feel for because he's not done anything too wrong. He's facing a lot of adversity and kind of thrown into it quite early from something that he can't really control. But the adventures that you get to go on and discoveries you make, and the people
with
that
a little
you meet,
robot pal as well.
81. I mean, that alone is recommendation
so.
enough. So
The only thing I do know about the title that I can add, and that's purely from just, talking and learning about video games every single day, which here at Xbox On, we take it very, very seriously here at the Fun Factory, is these games boast like ray tracing, 60 frames per second, HDR10 to make the lightsabers pop. It's no wonder Henry got that tattoo if they look that darn good on his TV. And also I know it's super easy to jump into as well. Thanks to Game Pass Ultimate members and EA Play, you can play the first chapter right now. So really there's no excuse. I don't know why I'm dragging my heels on it.
a whole lot of bonuses apart from the single player story is in fact, yes, how good it looks, how well it plays, and also the soundtrack won some awards. I think it was a Grammy recently.
Grammy, that's sick.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, comments.
Well, those are all the games that we recommend you play. But we've also, there's loads we haven't mentioned,
Charleyy,
right?
we could literally talk
off the top of my head.
day.
I can tell you right now, you also need to play Titanfall 2, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Disco Elysium. I'm sure you've got a couple in your pocket as well. You want to call out quick before we go?
I mean, my favorites, of course, I would be amiss to not mention any Bethesda titles. So
yeah.
Skyrim, of course, is my absolute favorite. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online is a great single player,
goodness,
even though it's online. I mean, single and co-op player. And of course, any of the Fallout games, but especially Fallout 4 was just, it really did change a lot for me.
There's plenty of reasons to be playing it right now as well. But we want to hear your favorites as well. So make sure you put in your favorite story games, your recommendations in the chat below, in the comments, but also explain why they're your favorites as well. I just don't want to hear you just say, Skyrim. I want to know why you like Skyrim, because you never know. Maybe we'll make another video on this. I feel like everyone out there has a recommendation of their favorite video game. We could make numerous videos on this on Bex. We may never shut up.
Yeah, Charleyy, you're so right. Maybe there's another video we can just make from your guys' comments alone, probably. So please fill us in with your recommendations. Thanks for listening. Charleyy and I are off to play some games.
Yeah, we are.
Bye.
Bye, chat.